Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh god. Oh no. There we go. Alright, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boisterous, coming to you with some Platinum League Pandemonium out of the New Kirk Precinct. Spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner, we do have Bubbles, MiserY. Those are two extremely different words. I do not know why you would have that be your name. And over here in the bottom left-hand corner, we do have SFP, Razgriz. Oh shit, no, it's Razgriz? Razgriz. I don't know anymore. I completely forgot. He sent me a pronunciation of his name with his first game, and then I just completely forgot it, so I don't know how to pronounce his name anymore. So anyway, guys, I was at PAX East this weekend, and it was a lot of fun. I got dominated by Idra. I mean, that game was not even fair. It was like I was on we were both on 5 or 6 bases by like the 12-minute mark, because literally like I've been watching them play all weekend, and whenever they played somebody low-leveled, they just expanded over and over again, and then they attacked at like the 12-minute mark. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be ready. So I expanded over and over again, and I just built roaches, and then he came in with battle cruisers, and I was like, well, fuck. And then I kind of turned to him and shook his hand, typed in DG, and left the game, because there was no freaking way. Thankfully, though, I did get my fancy Kingston HyperX Redhead, which I was very, very proud of. It's definitely, it's something. It's a piece of swag. Most definitely. Yeah, it's definitely something. Alright. So anyway, we have this game going on. It is going to be a TVP on New Kirk Precinct, which is, you know, it's a good map. It's a map that's actually been around for a deceptively long time, because it's been in the standard ladder pool for at least 2 or 3 seasons at this point. So it's a map that everyone kind of knows the ins and outs of. The only real difference between the Heart of the Swarm version and the Wings of Liberty version is the fact that this cooling tower is here, which you can knock over to kind of form a little bit of a defensive wall leading up into your third. And of course that did not exist in Wings of Liberty, because Blizzard actually did not have the ability to create something that fancy in the original game. There was absolutely no capabilities there. They had no idea how to do it. They were like, how do we knock something over and make it form a wall? It just doesn't make sense to us. So anyway, we are going to have the probe getting sniped there. For a second, I thought the Marine was on the probe side, and I was like, how is the SCV doing this? And I was like, wait a second. SCVs and probes are both Terran units. It looks like the Mothership Core is going to be coming out at this point. Razgriz is, of course, not currently planting down an expansion. No, he is currently planting down an expansion. I completely said that wrong. He is actually going to be planting down an expansion right now. Not now. Okay, all right. Okay, never mind. I thought it was going to be right now, but it wasn't right now. It looks like the command center from MiserY is already done and complete. This Mothership Core is going to be flying right on over. I'm not quite sure how much damage it's going to be able to do. I mean, there is a fair amount of Marines. But honestly, I mean, Mothership Cores are actually surprisingly good when it comes to just being pure harass units, because you can kind of fly it into the back of your opponent's main base and just be annoying, and just force the Marines to run out and defend it. Usually you don't want to charge the front like this, though, with your Marines, with the Mothership Core. It's really not usually worth it, because it will take quite a bit of hull damage. It looks like we do have empty shields from both of our Protoss units. I'm surprised he's still poking this much. This is really ballsy. The Stalker is the first one to take hull damage. The Mothership Core is finally going to be regenerating its shields, but that was weird. I don't know why he's trying to be so aggressive here. It looks like 2 Marines are going to be finished, but the bunker is going to wrap up, and that is going to be the end of this harass. I'm still really surprised, and I saw In Control do this weekend, and it was very effective. Just fly into your enemy's base with the Mothership Core. Just do it. Just harass him with the Mothership Core, because it's just a little bit more micro that they have to do that isn't too hard for you. I mean, you can really do whatever when the Mothership Core is in your opponent's base. It really doesn't matter. Because the Mothership Core is very easy to kind of just dodge around with, and if stuff really starts going bad, you can just mouse recall it back to your base. Like if for some reason they get like 4-minute Vikings out to fight against your Mothership Core, just recall it, because it doesn't matter. It's not like they're going to be able to kill the recalling Mothership, because those things recall very, very fast. Anyway, as far as this game goes, we are going to have a little bit more harassment done to the front, but I'm still a little bit confused as to why he's doing this. It's definitely a bit of a distraction, but here we do have the Terran player finally reacting with a nice little loop around maneuver here, and it's going to be hard. No, it's not going to be hard, because there will be a Mothership Core warp out as, you know, Protoss got free early attacks in Heart of the Swarm. I know what you're thinking. It's not really free, but it's free. You guys don't need to worry about losing your units when you harass early on, so long as you get the Mothership Core, especially against Zerg players. Just, you know what? You don't. Just don't bitch. And I'm showing off quite a bit of Zerg favoritism, which is something I don't typically do. But honestly, I'm still mad about last MLG, because everyone's like, Zerg won. And it's like, that's because Life is probably the best player at that tournament. I mean, he beat Flash because he fucking pulled down a strategy that no one else thought he was going to pull out, and then he just won. Because, I mean, the one thing that he knew that was going to fight against Widowmines in an economy match was that very, very fast early pressure, because it slows down Widowmines from coming out. And if you don't do that, there's going to be nothing that can cost efficiently fight against them, because they're very, very cheap units that build very, very fast. Anyway, it looks like we do have the Stargate coming out from Razgriz, so we are going to see Sky Toss in the works, and that's going to be very fancy. I really do love me some Sky Toss. It looks like it is going to be 5 gates though, so it's not going to be a super heavy commitment into the air for this Protoss player, but it's definitely going to be something. And I love something. That's probably my favorite thing. Something. Yeah. I just realized that I don't think I've ever seen a Mothership Core actually transform into a Mothership before. What does that look like? Somebody do that in a game just so that they can send it to me and show me what that looks like. Because I honestly have no idea. And that sounds cool and I want to see it. Because, I mean, it takes 100 seconds. Is it just like the Mothership Core is sitting there and just, like, slowly building out? Or can you still move around and attack with the Mothership Core and it's just like a carrier when it builds interceptors? And then, like, at the end of the 100 seconds, it's just like, boop! I'm a Mothership Core now. Baby mama ship became big mama ship. Aw, that would be so cute. It looks like we are going to have the Phoenixes start pumping out for Razgriz. And I'm not quite sure how much damage these are actually going to be able to do at this point, because of course it is only one Phoenix, so it's basically just going to be a scouting unit. Because if you only have one Phoenix, it actually can't attack anything unless it's flying. It really can't, because it can't lift anything up. It looks like the big move out from the Terran player is going to be happening right now. We do have a very Marine-centric force, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. However, with this many charge lots, it's going to be a very, very easy pickings for this Protoss player. It's going to do a lot of damage to this Marine force. This is a lot of charge lots, so God, I'm pretty excited for this. I'm pretty excited. Oh, there's the first charge. There's the second charge. It looks like the charge lots just don't feel like attacking right now. There we go. Now they're starting to launch off. It's all popping off now, boys, and oh my God. The charge lots charge. Charge lots charge. Charge lots. Charge lots. Oh, okay. So charge lots are actually not that good of units. Just to let everybody know, they kind of just melt like butter to the Marines, especially +1 Marines. Actually, +1 Marines do a crap ton of DPS. I mean, like a lot of DPS. They do 7 damage per second, and they're 50 minerals apiece, and there's like 90 of them here. It's a lot of DPS. It looks like we are going to have the medevac going to fly into the main base, and this is going to be interesting. The one thing that I wish they would do with advanced afterburners is make it so that it costs energy. That's really my one wish for for Ignite Afterburners. Not even a lot of energy, not like 20 or 50 or anything. I mean, I'm talking like 10 to 5 energy, and then to put it on like a 10-second cooldown. Because that way, like, it would be a choice whether you want to speed up your medevacs for a drop, because right now it really isn't. You automatically do it no matter what. It looks like we are going to have some pylon sniping going on here, and that's going to be able to do a reasonable amount of damage. It will unpower both this robotics facility, which is just now building, and the Twilight Council, which of course aren't the biggest units to unpower. They don't really matter. And with taking out a medevac, that's a pretty good trade for a Terran player, or for a Protoss player to take any time. I will gladly lose a little bit of time not researching Blink for a medevac full of units, because that's perfectly worth it. It is going to be just a little bit on the annoying side, because, you know, he won't be able to produce an observer as soon as this robotics facility finishes, but that's not really an issue, because he does have the Phoenix Force, and that Phoenix Force is going to be able to get full scouting information for him. It's going to be very, very difficult for a Terran player to try to deny scouting information from Phoenixes, because they're just so goddamn fast. As far as the rest of the map spreading out goes for, it looks like Razgriz does have complete map control with these Phoenixes. He is able to do a reasonable amount of damage. to this factory that's just flying in the air and trying to get as much scouting information as possible. But the Phoenixes really just can't. So that factory is going to be able to just stay on the side of the map and not take any damage because of the massive bio ball of units sitting right below it. And yeah, this is a lot of charge lots. I don't know why he's committing so heavily into the charge lots, especially when the first attack worked so poorly for him. It looks like we are going to have a lot of, actually, +2 armor on the way. Interesting. I like that choice. It's a pretty good choice. It looks like the army from Bubble MiserY is highly Marauder-based, which is weird. Typically, you want to go for the big Marine force instead of Marauders, especially when you're facing such a big army of Charge Lots, because Marines are way better against Charge Lots than Marauders are. I mean, Marauders are good for holding the front line, but past that, I think their DPS is slightly faster than Marines, but they cost twice as much, and they cost twice as many minerals, some gas, and their 2 supply, which isn't useful. And oh my god, did you see that death animation? That was amazing! The probe was just running up the ramp and then just flipped the fuck over. Oh my god, there's an engagement happening, but I really just want to talk about that probe death animation. That was amazing! Oh, Blizzard, I love your physics. I'm just like starting to notice them just a little bit more every replay I commentate. Now, of course, there is still the traditional Zealot, just slicing things to bits, which we are seeing quite a bit right now. It looks like all the medevacs are done, and all those medevacs are going to be able to, you know, they were doing a whole lot for this army, but with such a heavy amount of Phoenixes, it just doesn't matter, especially because the Phoenixes can then fly around and kind of just lift things out of the fight, which is an amazingly useful skill to have. And I just put one earphone back on for my headset, and it just started bugging the hell out of me, because again, I have these like sound canceling earphones now, and they are super annoying because I can't hear myself speak when I have both of them on at a time. So they're really good for when I'm like when I'm playing a game and it's like a solo game and I'm playing alone and I'm just watching the cutscenes, but at any other point in time, I just want to cry because they suck for it. They're awful at it. Alright, so anyway, it looks like we are going to have Bubble MiserY going back for a massive amount of medevacs, which is a poor decision in this situation. Really just not a good choice at all. I don't like it as a theory at all. I think he should be transitioning way more into Vikings, or even a Thor or 2. I mean, he could, I guess Mech kind of does blow against charge lots, but I think he should definitely be going much heavier into Marines at the very least, because he is still going crazy on the Marauder front. I mean, he has 4 barracks, and 3 of them are pumping Marauders, and 1 of them is pumping 2 SCVs apiece, and it looks like up here it is going to be the same formation. It's going to be 1 reactor and 3 tech labs, and that is an awful decision. Just get more reactors. It looks like we are going to have a little bit of an attack coming down here from the Phoenixes. They are going to be able to pick up quite a few workers here, and that is a lot of annoying damage. I hate when that happens to your economy. And this is just going to be, I'm just going to randomly put anecdotes to what I saw at the Kingston HyperX booth this weekend. Stefano actually went like 50 Phoenixes, and then he just massed carriers for the rest of his supply, and it was freaking hilarious. That guy is way too good at the game. He was playing against a Terran player that was just going mass Marines, which is a logical decision to fight Phoenixes. That's a perfectly sound decision. I would prefer Thors just because Thors are massive and they can't be lifted, but I mean, mass Marines make sense, and he was getting clobbered because there was just such a beautiful micro from the Phoenixes, and like the Phoenixes would literally pick up a Marine, and before the Marine was even fully in the air, it would be dead just because of the auto-attacking of the other Phoenixes. It was freaking beautiful. I was just laughing so hard. And also, and I do plan on making like I don't know, I might post the pictures somewhere. But I got a couple of pictures of the EG guys. I think it was like Idra and Machine versus the Muslim and Stefano playing. Like, one player was using their left hand to control the keyboard, and the other player was using their right hand to control the mouse. And it was like the most awkward game of StarCraft I have ever seen. And there was a lot of like silent eyes, like angry eyes. Like, you could tell that they wanted to yell at each other, but they didn't want to give up their strategies, so they didn't do it because they're professionals. It looks like we do have a crap ton of Marauders coming out from MiserY. Again, not the best decision when your opponent has so many charge lots and so many Phoenixes, because, you know, the Phoenixes kind of just pick them the fuck up and then they can't do anything. It looks like we are going to have a little bit of a transition into a couple of Archons, which are going to be reasonably effective. Now, of course, they don't have any of the upgrades that actually matter to them. They do have Protoss Armor 3, which is very, very useful for the Zealots, but it literally does not matter for the like Archons. I guess they can take like 2 Marine shots instead. Actually, I think they can take 3 Marine shots instead of 2 if they have their armor as soon as their shields fall. But, you know, that's not a big change. It looks like we are going to have the base get absolutely sniped here, but the charge lots are going to be charging in, and there are the Archons coming up and doing a massive amount of damage. These charge lots are doing way too much damage for this army to deal with. It looks like the Colossus are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to all the Marines, but here come the Phoenixes, and these Phoenixes are going to be able to do something to this army. It looks like they are just going to be here to snipe off Medivacs, which is a perfectly kind thing to use your Medivacs for. Well, maybe not kind, but definitely logical. That's definitely a useful thing for Phoenixes, because honestly, and I know that a lot of commentators say this a lot, but medevac numbers basically wins or loses TVZs and TVPs if you're going bio. If you can't actually snipe off the medevacs, you're going to lose the game, because medevacs are just so, I mean, they can be so cost efficient and they can be so cost inefficient. Like, at this point, these medevacs are going to need to spend all of their energy just to heal that army up from running away. Like, this army is almost all self-damage. I doubt any of this is actually inflicted by the Protoss enemy because it's just so even. I would guess that this is just all Stimpack damage. And both of these medevacs are going to be absolutely healing out of their minds to try to catch up with that Stimpack damage. But it's just way too much for poor couple little medevacs to go for. And because of this Phoenix numbers, we are going to see the Terran player having to actually transition very hardcore into Vikings, which is a little bit awkward, but it's what he has to do. I mean, there's not a whole lot of choice there. If we look in the production tab, and it actually looks like the Terran is supply capped, which is weird. How many SCVs does he have? Oh, he has a crap ton of SCVs, way more than the Protoss has probes. So if we just look at the army supply, Razgriz is a little bit ahead, and that's just going to expedite over the next 18 supply. I mean, he's going to end up like 30-ish, actually no, like 40-ish supply over his opponent, which is a big advantage. I mean, that is massive. That's actually a little bit frightening. That is not at all what you want. It looks like we are going to have an engagement here, but the bigger force from the Protoss player in just a much more favorable composition with much better upgrade. Actually, no, not much better upgrades, but definitely the same upgrades. It's definitely the same upgrades. And it's just going to absolutely crush through because these Archons and these Colossus just do so much splash damage, and honestly the Viking numbers were just not there to be able to deal with these Phoenixes. And it looks like he is going to be taking a final stand at the Planetary Fortress, but it's just not going to be enough because these Phoenixes will be able to pick up SCVs at any point in time. And how is this game still going on? Why has MiserY not left the game? Alright, well, this is a little bit interesting. Because, I mean, the Terran player just lost, I think. But I don't know. I thought this game would actually be over by now, but I'm looking at the timestamp, and it's not going to be over because I saw the time that it ends at before. I'm not going to reveal that, but the game should definitely be over. There's no point for this game to be continuing on. Let's just look at the army supply again. Actually, all right, maybe the army supply is reasonably even, but I still think that Razgriz should have won with that push. Like, if he had just pushed up into the main base and just camped supply, or the supply chain of the Terran player, it would have been no way. There would have been absolutely no way. And I would just like to, I'm going to reveal something interesting because you're about to see it, I think. I think we're about to hit that point where it happens. But this is actually a reconnect game. Pretty soon you're going to see, you know, Razgriz has resumed playing and MiserY has resumed playing. And that's going to just be like the resume mark of, you know, when the game starts again, basically. Both players are going to know exactly what happens to the other one unless they actually, I don't know. I'm confused. I'm not sure if they resume match, or I'm not sure how to differentiate between take control and resume match. I'm guessing that they just resume it, so they go and they get into a lobby and they just resume it and they both take control from the point that, you know, they took control from, or that the game was lost at, which is a big fancy thing that Blizzard has added. It looks like we do have a massive number of Vikings now out for MiserY, and that's going to be very useful against this army because, again, a lot of it is very much air-based. I would still like to see, all right, maybe not a couple Thors, but definitely more Marines, because 7 Marauders at a time is excessive unless you're facing this big Stalker ball. Because honestly, Zealots just don't give a crap about Marauders. I mean, Marauders deal double damage to armor, and Zealots aren't armored. That's like the big things that like you need to, you know, you need to be fighting something that isn't armored. or that is armored to win with Marauders. And I think MiserY is just going for that kind of very old school Terran versus Protoss strategy that was really popular in the beginning of Wings of Liberty, just because people did not utilize Zealots to the top of their capabilities. But now that people have started using these charge lots as a big portion of their army, you just need more Marines. You need a lot more Marines. Even Widow Mines are really, really, really good against Zealots, because they like one-shot one Zealot and deal 40 damage to everything else. And because Zealots are melee units, they always charge in and then they fight your army. So if there's Widow Mines underneath your army, you'll just see all of these rockets pop up and then fire at your opponents and kill off everything, because that's kind of just how Widow Mines work. They're really, really good units. It looks like we are going to have the Ghost expeditioning across the center of the map. I don't know if that's a word, but I do not care. They are going to be cloaking here, and we might see a double nuke drop on something. Oh, what are we going to see? There's 2 nukes. There's 2 nukes. There's 4 ghosts. We are most certainly going to see a double nuke drop on something. Is he going to be going into the main base? Is he going to be trying to nuke the natural? I really hope he goes into the main base and just nukes the fuck out of this entire area. That would be so much fun. Oh, no, he's going to be going to the 3rd base. All right, so it looks like he's going to be going to the 3rd base. These ghosts will not walk into cannon range, although it will be very, very easy for them to accidentally do that. It looks like we do have 1 nuke launching down, but not a second one. It looks like a lot of the ghosts will actually walk right into nuke range, and then the nuke gets canceled. All right, well, that was some of the worst micro from nukes I have ever seen. What was that? I don't understand. I don't understand what that was. It looks like we do have the 2nd nuke going down in the exact same position, so it's very easy to tell where it's coming. And there we have a 2nd cancel. Dude, you don't get your nuke back. You have to finish casting the nuke. You don't get it back. You don't. You don't get the nuke back. You don't save money if you cancel a nuke from casting. It's in the air. It doesn't matter. All right, well, you know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna live with it. He thought there were observers or something, and then he was like, if I cancel the nuke, then my ghosts go into super stealth, and then observers won't be able to find them. I don't know anymore. It looks like we are going to have them sniping off quite a few probes at this base level, and this is going to be a lot of damage now. It looks like we are at 45 workers killed, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50 workers killed, 52 workers killed is the final count for these ghosts, at least. I think that there's a little bit more harass later in the game, but who the hell knows? It's not like I've watched this game before. Yeah, no, I actually haven't watched this game before. I played it fast forward just like during live, but I don't think I've really paid attention to anything important. It looks like the army is massing up for MiserY, and this is a crap ton of Marauders and a crap ton of Marines, and this is weird. I don't know why he went like evenly. I mean, he went actually literally evenly with the amount of Marauders and the amount of Marines, which is something you never ever do. I mean, you always get way more Marines than you have Marauders, just because Marines are typically more useful against more units, and they typically do more damage against more units. And this is just weird. This is honestly all I can think of to describe it. It's just weird. It looks like the debris pile is going to be getting shot down by this Marine Corps, so, you know, the debris aren't going to be there anymore. Which I guess is something, you know. I don't know why I drew so much attention to that, because it really is not important to the actual flow of this game. But I had nothing else to talk about. So, as a commentator, I just filled the space with reasonably stupid comments that nobody could actually call me out on, because they were perfectly true. I was actually just saying what was happening in the game. And I'm sure some of you are now going to try to call me out on that, but it's true. There were rocks, and they were going down. And that's going to change a little bit of the path of the game, because MiserY was able to get his SCBs over there without flying medevacs. And there we do have the resume play going on. So this is the point where both of our players have resumed play. And I would just like to thank Blizzard, because that, like, did you if it wasn't for this text, you probably wouldn't even notice that happened in this replay. Now, of course, Razgriz was the one that disconnected, so MiserY actually does win the latter game. He wins the points. And now we get to see, you know, what really would have happened if the game had not disconnected. But, you know, it was just very cool for Blizzard to be able to do that, because, you know, people have been bitching and whining about how it affects tournament play and how dropped games are often, which has always been an issue with pro gaming. And it looks like we are going to have a little bit of a fight going down here. but it looks like it's actually going to be absolute dominance for the Protoss player. None of these Colossus got sniped, which is kind of the issue when you don't have any Vikings against an army like this. I don't know what happened to all his Vikings. I think, were there no Vikings in that army? Maybe there were no Vikings in that army. Maybe it was just medevacs. Maybe he's building 4 medevacs at a time instead of 2 medevacs and 2 Vikings, which is what he should be doing. Actually, no, that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing the exactly wrong thing at this point. Actually, the exact opposite thing from what he should be doing, because medevacs are pretty much the opposite from Vikings. I mean, Vikings only attack air units, and medevacs basically only heal ground units. Because, you know, the only air units that they heal are Mutalisks, and Broodlords, and Corruptors. And let's be honest, we're not talking about team games here. So anyway, we are going to have the big army from the Protoss players stepping across the center of the map now. If we look in the units tab, there is still the SCV lead to MiserY. So this is really just a full army of bigness. I don't know why I described it as a full army of bigness, but I have been talking for 36 minutes in a row, and I am just spouting random bullshit a little bit here. So if you start just not understanding me at all, that's why. I really need just like a standard co-commentator. So anyway, guys, I figure because this is a little bit of a dead zone in the game, I'm just going to really quickly remind everyone that the URTL starts in a couple of weeks, and you guys should definitely check it out. I still don't have my schedule. I should probably send that into them, but I need to talk to a couple people to see what days of the week I can be available for every freaking week. Because it's going to be like 4 months long. It's going to be 750 hours of games. It's going to be live every evening with different commentators, and I'm probably going to be on it twice a week, so 2 days a week, and you know, every other time it's just going to be my crew of co-commentators that will just be rotating through, and you should definitely be sure to watch that. I will definitely post the first broadcast, and then maybe the full broadcast schedule as soon as it gets solidified. It looks like we are going to have the engagement here going quite well for Razgriz, because the splitting just is not there for the Terran army. It looks like they are going to be trying to dive in and deal damage to these Colossus. But honestly, these Colossus have just been so cost efficient over the course of the game. None of them are below 10 kills, and the top one is up at 35. These Colossus have literally been around forever. It's kind of like Swarm Hosts, where if you just can't actually deal any damage to Colossus, you're just going to fall way behind as far as cost efficiency goes. So it does look like we are going to have MiserY dropping out of the game. Razgriz does take the win. Sadly, he does not take the ladder points, but that's kind of just the issue with playing over the internet, is sometimes you drop games. But it was very nice for MiserY to, you know, come back up to Razgriz, or accept Razgriz's challenge of actually finishing off the game. And I think I hope to see a lot more of that come out from the community, because honestly, that's a very cool and very manly thing to do, where, you know, you finish it off. You play the game to its completion. So anyway, guys, if you'd like your games commentated, send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. I will also take games that are like, I'm thinking of doing just like a featurette where I kind of take 4 or 5, or, you know, after a major tournament, people can just send me in games of them taking control of armies during major fights, and then you can send that in to me, and I can kind of commentate the battle as, you know, players of lower levels kind of fight them out instead of the pros, because we all know what happens when the pros do it. But I think it would be very cool to see what would happen if, you know, there was a gold player and a silver player that were playing out the same thing that happened between Idra and Stefano, or Stefano and Flash, or you know, just people like that. I think that would be very, very fun. So if you have those, just send them in to me. I'll probably only commentate the major battle. I don't know, I might commentate the rest of the game, but, you know, I will definitely commentate like that section of it. So anyway, guys, if you want any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Also, if you would like this video to be over, I'm just going to be Boisterous signing out. Almost said my email address again, but I already did that, so I'm just gonna sign out.